For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
This week in the National Hot Rod Association, the playoff system known as the Countdown begins at Maple Grove Raceway, the house of chaos, the Pep Boys NHRA Nationals, and we are headed that way. Where are you going to be? The National Hot Rod Association coming in off record television ratings out there at the Dodge Power Brokers U.S. Nationals. We got a big show for you. So if you're into any of that stuff, for fast cars, just like fast cars, you're definitely going to want to share the show, push it out there, and let's get everybody watching. We've got a great show. We got the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, going to join us for a little countdown preview and a Maple Grove preview. We talked about it on the Ignition audio-only podcast with Michael Heiner, crew chief for the Get Biofuel Pro Stock Camaro, that Maple Grove sets the tone for the countdown. Erica Enders certainly felt that way last year. She won the race, went on and won the countdown. We shall see as it all unfolds. WFO Radio is going to be there. If you're a new listener, a first-time listener watching the show for the very first time, you're going to want to lock us in for the entire countdown and right through the offseason, because we keep on going, PRI and beyond. Also on this show, he won back-to-back at the U.S. Nationals. Bo Butner going to join us because Bo knows something about racing. So maybe we should just shorten it to Bo Knows Racing. That sounds better. Bo Knows Racing. Super Gas, back-to-back wins. He'll be running in Pro Stock. What's his outlook for the countdown? We're going to find out as Bo Butner joins us here on WFO Radio. But you know, this is just race one of the NHRA Countdown, and they're all pivotal. They're all vital. It's all a huge deal. Race 4 of the Countdown is the Fall Nationals at the Texas Motorplex, an event known as the Stampede of Speed. Yep, yep. And I'm going to be there for 10 days, and I'm going to tell you guys everything that's going on and show you how to get free tickets to a large portion of it as Christie Meyer-Johnson joins us on the show. She's going to tell us about all the different things going on, including the Champions Dinner and tickets going on sale and who and what and when and where and why. A big part of that event is Scott Palmer and his Nitro Sideshow. We all know what happened with Scott, like a terrible incident. And of course, hopefully he's going to get well soon and all of that stuff. Exactly. But what does Scott have to say? We're going to find out. Scott Palmer going to be on WFO here like minutes from now. Minutes from now. You got to stick around for the whole show to see Palmer and Christie Meyer-Johnson and Bo Butner, and they're all going to be on. Let me tick through the people who make all of this madness possible. As you're putting your comments in the comment section and everybody is sharing the show, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen without the folks at Total Seal Piston Rings. Hartford goes out there, gets his first U.S. Nationals win. He's getting ready for the championship. He's second in the point standings. And what did he do? He went back to work to make rings for people. That's what they're doing. We learned last week that he had to jump into the shipping role, right? Like, okay, shipping people out. Became U.S. Nationals winner to shipping and receiving person. And that's, I think that's kind of cool. So the next time you need piston rings for your engine, if you're an engine builder, by all means, call Total Seal. Call Keith Jones. Tell him you heard about it on the show. Make him your first call, not your last call. Of course, the folks at Bernie Speed Shop. Josh Hart. I had a great conversation with Josh earlier this week. And I was like, Josh, what's going on at Bernie's? They need inventory is what they need. They sell on consignment. They have like 97% success rates, and they are just looking for cars to sell, cool cars, exotic cars, muscle cars. If you've got a car you're looking to sell, you set your limit, and they give you the limit, and they sell it as best as they can. give Josh a call. Go to Bernies.com to check out their inventory if you're buying or if you're selling. I think it is very, very cool. Josh Hart got a lot going on, and he is getting ready for the NHRA Countdown. Got new parts, new pieces, etc. Phillips Connect, smart trailer technology. If you're over the road, if you're in the transportation industry, check out this graphic, guys. Just look at all the different sensors that are available for tractors and trailers, detecting if a light is out, something very minor that can prevent you from getting a ticket or pulled over at very least, or cargo loaded or empty sensors, wheel hub sensors, everything you can possibly imagine. Jim Epler, Mr. 300, invented all this stuff, got together with the folks at Phillips. They're now on Justin Ashley's car. He's leading the point standings, most wins on the season, and we're telling you guys out there in the WFO universe how to be safe on the roads. Go to phillips-connect.com, and if you're looking for a personalized introduction, I can do that for you. Joe at WFOradio.com. That is an email address. You guys should have that figured out by now. And then, of course, there's the folks at Foggett. Gary Stinnett. This is for, I'm learning a lot about this because, honestly, lack of usage and improper storage is what took down Project Pontiac the first time. And now I have to go through it all again. If only I knew about, and there was a product like Foggett, I would have just sprayed down the inside of the cylinder walls and had a totally different outcome, right? There's more to it than that. But the bottom line is, at the end of the night, let's say you're out there at a big money bracket race, you're putting your car away, you got to go another round of racing the next day. You want it to be exactly the same as it was when you put it away. No condensation, no microscopic corrosion, none of that. Go to foggit.com. And oh yes, I found another use on some rusty wheel spindles on the Project Cadillac as I was doing my brake rotors this past weekend. What can I do to get all this rust off? Psh, psh, little shot of Foggett, little wire brush. It was perfect. And I thought, there you go, Gary. So go to foggett.com to find out more information. Later on in the show, I'll tell you about samtech.edu. I'll tell you about Frank Hawley's drag racing school. They got great programs. And of course, we're headed to Fort Worth, Texas. So bring a wheelbarrow, baby, and you're going to roll out of Marvin Rodax with some fresh roasted coffee. 817-924-6821. Let's bring on Reinhart, though, who was out there calling the big money bracket races at the Spring Fling. And it all depends on how you want to look at it. He either did the announcers really proud, or doesn't. We'll decide that right now. What's up, Reinhart?
I got hosed. No, I had a great time. It was actually the summer fling, not the spring fling, but over in Columbus, Ohio. It's, of course, Pete Biondo and the late Kyle Seipel started doing this, and Pete's been carrying on the tradition for the last few years. But they do 4 or 5 events a year, big money and big fun. Their slogan is race it, experience it, and they do make it a full experience. It's just they have a good time. They obviously, race for a lot of money. But they make sure that everybody that comes has a good time, because obviously not everybody's going to leave with a great big check. So, but it was a lot of fun, and the racing was incredible. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, a couple of things I posted in one particular race, both drivers were perfect, dead 3.
Yeah. One
wins, one loses. In one that I posted, the guy's 001 on the tree, take 004 at the stripe for a trip to the buyback window. But there was I saw more 4th digit margin of victory in the last weekend than I've probably seen in the last 5 years. Now, it's 8th mile racing, so obviously it's going to be a little bit closer. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good weekend. Mother Nature was pretty good to us. We had a little bit of a delay on Friday, but other than that, Mother Nature was pretty good to us all weekend. And it was just fun. And it was also fun I got to connect with a couple of guys that don't see much more anymore on the NHRA trail, but the guys that are out there chasing the big money stuff. So it was kind of nice to touch base with a few of them. But great event. If you're a bracket racer and you think you're good enough, next time there's a fling coming to town, you ought to look it up. But if you get into the practice tree thing with Pete, I got hosed. That's all there is to it.
So let's dig into that. Obviously, we got Bo coming on. We got a lot to do, but this is very worthwhile exercise here because we always talk about the late great Bob Unkefer and the time he got in a car and he won the race. And Jason Galvin he got down to 16 cars at the Big Go, right? Like there's the announcers are always underestimated, and you and Peter Biondo, like one of the, if not the greatest of all time, arguably. Imagine if he had continued to race at the same clip he did early in his career instead of going off and doing these flings, right? Which is probably much better for the sport in general. but he does a show. It's personalities in practice tree or vice versa. You were the guest. He interviews you, and then you guys hit the tree. It was 1st to 5. You touched on it a little bit last week, but now the video is up. And so I got to watch the video. And Reinhart, you did a great job, man. You took this guy right down to the wire, the final run. That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you. I missed it a little in the final. I was 15, and that was when we were tied 4-4. But the one that really irks me is there was one of the head-up matchups. You can find the video. It's on their Facebook page. If you go to Facebook, and I think it's Spring Fling Bracket Races, or there's a link in my Twitter feed if you hit my Twitter feed and scroll back a little bit. But one of the races, we were both 001, and he got the win.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that could have been the difference maker.
And he said, well, it's a Biondo track practice tree, so I win all the ties. And I found out later, I didn't know at the time, but I found out later the buttons that they use actually has some kind of biotech something. It can read thumbprints. And so the button realizes that this is Pete. And so we need to make sure that he wins the race. And, you know, the thing is skewed a little bit that way. That's my story, and I am sticking to it. I figure Peter hired me to do the first one and then didn't invite me back for 12 years. So what's he going to do? Not invite me back for another 12 years?
Exactly.
I'm calling him out on the I'm telling you, I got host. You can watch a video and decide for yourself.
Yes, well, and so I did, because last week I agreed with you, and I'm giving you all the credit in the world, Alan Reinhart. But you know that after that moment, you kind of fell to pieces. Like, you had him on the ropes. You had a chance to win, Alan. You had him in the you were 0-15 in the final run.
Yeah, I missed the final.
Their worst light of the whole exercise in the critical final.
I know. I also, I lost a red light race when, we both went red, and I was, I think I was 006 and he was 002 or something. But I had plenty of chances to win the thing. But when it ends up being 4-4, and then it ends up being 5-4, and one of his 4 was a tie that the machine just decided to give to him because his name is on the box. I think that, that's the way I'm telling the story. And I'm never going to tell the story differently. Pete, I'm sure, tells the story differently.
Yeah, I had him the whole time. I spotted him live, right? Those guys are slippery, man. Those greatest of all time. You have them on the ropes, and then, they come back and get you. Look at that. Lisa Deal, I assume, with the Nitro Go-Go signature designs out there checking in on the show. Maddie is checking on the show. Everyone's out there checking in on the show. Let's talk about this weekend's race. Michael Heiner said it on Ignition. Hopefully everybody is also listening to the audio-only podcast that is Ignition, where Michael Heiner is just one of a cast of characters. But this race sets the tone, right? Like, you don't have to win to become the champion. But if you can go out and have a strong performance in the first of 3 races in a row, that's a good thing.
I look at this like the first qualifying session on Friday. That's really how I look at it. If you come out on the first qualifying session on Friday, any event, not just this, any event, if you come out at the first qualifying session, you make a clean run. You don't have to be low ET. You don't have to be number 1 qualifier. Make a clean run. And that kind of sets the tone for the weekend. And that's kind of how I see this event. If you come out and you have a good run, right? You make it to the semis, you make it to the final. If you win the race, obviously that's great. But if you just have a good run, get off on a good foot, and I think that kind of sets the momentum for the next couple of races, certainly before we take a little break after St. Louis. But I think it's that important. And I'm not saying if you come out and stumble the first one that you got no chance, you're out of it, because with 6 races in the countdown, I think you get a mulligan and a half. I think that you can have one bad throwaway race, but if you make it your first one, that really, really puts your back against the wall for the next 5. If you come out and you have a good start the first couple, and then you get to St. Louis or you get to Texas and you have a little stumble, hopefully you've built enough of a cushion that doesn't kill you and that you can still come back from that. But that's where I put the importance of this one, is right up there with the first qualifying run on Friday at any event. Come out of the box. Let's have a good showing. Let's get off on a strong foot. Let's put some points on our ledger, and then let's load up and we'll head down the coast and try it again in Charlotte.
Yeah, speaking of Charlotte, your take real quick. Like, they're great at everything. They are great at everything. They've never let us down. They are the best. We love ZMAX Dragway, one of our very early sponsors here on WFO Radio, and so I love them forever. We're going to see how good they are at cleaning dirt. Like, I have no doubts. I've got 100% confidence. But this is going to be an interesting exercise to see. They got 2 weeks.
Well, they've got a pretty good handle on how to move in dirt and how to move out dirt from this little racetrack a couple hours from them called Bristol.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not worried about that in the least. I think that the place always, when we pull into ZMAX, the place always looks spectacular. It's going to be clean. It's going to be shiny. It's going to be ready to go. And so I'm not worried about that in the least.
All right. So I found out last year putting the drivers into tiers is dangerous, right? Because nobody wants to be left out. And I totally get it. Everyone's working really, really hard and all of that. But if we were Las Vegas handicappers and we were forced to make some odds on people for others to wager on, we would have to do it. Okay. So earlier today, I put out which drivers do you think are most likely to win in Top Fuel? Jeb Allen, I got, right? Like, nobody wants to even touch that in our sport. Like I don't know if it's fear or everybody likes everybody or whatever, but I'm feeling like in Top Fuel, you got Justin Ashley, you got Steve Torrence. I think Antron Brown, obviously, the guy's got multiple wins, especially back to back. Brittany Force has not won a race, and I feel that everyone is still willing to give that team the benefit of the doubt as the defending champions, that this is the week, they've made some finals, that they can turn it on. Now is the time. You don't have to put drivers in tiers, but give me your thoughts on who the favorites are.
Well, I think Justin Ashley's at the top. I don't think there's any question about that. He's going to go in as the number one seed. You look at what he's done all year. They definitely need to clean up the first round issues that they've had, and they've had a couple of those this year. But once he gets rolling, I think that I think they are the best team in Top Fuel so far, and I think the points would bear that out. I think Antron is second. I really do. I think that the way that car's been running as of late. I think, and with Brian now is finally back in his comfort zone over there. And speaking, of course, of Brian Karate, when he left the team and then came back, it took him a little bit longer, I think, to get back in sync than they expected. I do think Steve is going to be a big factor, and I agree with you on Brittany. There were a number of teams that actually tested in Indianapolis on Tuesday, which I was very surprised because for a number of years that was just absolutely forbidden. The track staff and everybody there said, "Look, we've had enough of this week. Our guys deserve a day off." So they didn't even allow it. But there were a handful of cars that were there testing, and the two Force Top Fuel cars were both on the list, both Proc and Brittany. And I spoke with David, and he was a little confused about what happened to his car first round. He said, it was running fine. It was doing basically what it was supposed to do. It put a cylinder out. And then when it put a cylinder out, something in the valve train broke, and he said it was a chicken or the egg deal. He said, I'm not pointing at one thing. I'm not throwing any one, part manufacturer or anything under the, but he said, we've dropped plenty of cylinders at 800 feet without blowing the blower off. So why did it do it this time? And that's why he wanted to come out the next day. He had stuff that was loaded up, obviously ready to go for second round, third round, and final round. And the weather was almost identical. So they came out and they ran 10 a.m. And if I'm not mistaken, the car went 372. And then they came back what would have been second round, and the car went 379. And they came in, and so he's perplexed as to why the thing blew up in the first round, but really believes if that hadn't happened, that they beat Antron, and he certainly wasn't claiming it. That means we automatically win the race. But if they beat Antron, then they certainly had a car that was capable. So I agree. I think that that's a team that can very potentially flip the switch and make a run. And I think those top four are the top four in my mind right now. I wouldn't absolutely fall over and faint, if Doug Coletta went on a roll. I mean, everybody keeps waiting for that thing to bust out, right? Clay Milliken has had some great moments. If they've got, they had a gremlin in the thing in Brainerd, looked like they had it fixed, and they came back at Indy, and it's like, something's still not. I think that's a team that's capable of making a run. But I really think that the top four that you and I both. I think you and I are in agreement on that. Odds on, if I was setting odds, the odds would be that the champion would come out of that top four in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Speaking of guests, he's going to be running in Pro Stock. He is our Super Gas winner back-to-back at the U.S. Nationals. And he's got like some sort of space chair set up. I don't know what I'm looking at, so I want to bring him on, Alan. Mr. Bo Butner, back-to-back in Indy and Super Gas. Look at this guy. Let's check out his whole operation, though. What are we seeing here,
I was just there. Wait, do you see back in the back over on the right side of the screen, back in the back corner?
Yes.
Can you zoom in on that? That's the boar's nest.
That's the boar's nest. Okay.
For Daisy work.
I wish I could.
From Dukes of Hazzard. That's the boar's nest. I was just there last week.
Pretty fancy place, Bo. You're like Jason Johnson Jr.
yeah, on a much different scale, buddy. Junior. So, yeah, no, all this behind me is Brandon's mind. So I just fortunate to walk through here time and again.
I like the white though. I think it's like I don't know, man. I think people might say that's like heaven, right? That's what it looks like, Alan. When you go, the white floor, the race cars everywhere, Wallies and stuff.
Well, he's not going to admit it because he hasn't quite grasped the entire concept yet, but that's his forever home now, whether he believes it or not.
Yeah, that's what she says.
He'll sell it. Are you kidding me? And who wants to buy that thing right now? Bo is ready to put it up for sale in 2 seconds.
Here's our problem, Joe. About 30 feet up is my service department for my dealership. Then there's a sales department. Then there's a finance company. We're all kind of connected here. So it's definitely part of my forever home.
I got you.
Bo, by the way, was at the Spring Fling last week. He came out there and knocked down a couple of win lights before he headed over to Eldora to hang out with the JHG guys and watch sprint cars.
Yeah. Speaking of the plane deals, we did very well at Indy. Had some good success again. And then you get over there and, I mean, dude, Alan announced it that Alan was announced, I think, if you're not 15 total, not on the tree, but 15 total, just go home. And that's probably generous because there was a lot of one run I was 6 total and went home. So it's definitely humbling to go from here to there and just to see a lot of this. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. So let's dig down on winning Indy back-to-back in Super Gas, right? Like I remember Alan, he got a hold of that car, and I think in the first race in the car, he won Sonoma. Car was still green, and that's just amazing to have that sense of being able to jump into something new and be successful. But to win the big go back-to-back in anything, and I guess it's common because Matt Smith did it, and Caps did it, and Antron did it, and Bo did it. But in Super Gas, that's a lot of rounds back-to-back at the highest level, Bo. So just kind of summarize the event for us because you're holding a Wally at the end of the day. Yeah.
And you're blessed to win points meet, anything you can win, especially in the sportsman Super Gas class. So we think, we tried to test a little bit at the Bowling Green race, which Alan was at. Had a very good first round, but didn't turn a win light on. But car went up to Indy, was great. Just like it was. We did change a couple little combos, different tire wheel combo and stuff. But no, just the paint color and all, still the same car. It's been a good car since it was, I say, born. But, very fortunate to win one Indy, and I was so close so many years. Of course, I've been doing it forever. But to win 2 in a row is just unimaginable and very, very blessed and very humbled to be able to do that.
Was there one round in particular, or maybe 2 rounds in particular, when you got the time slip and went, "Ooh, man, I got away with that one"? That should have been the one that sent me home.
I believe my final round, I was 20-something on the tree, and I had been great, just felt good with it, and just fortunate it slowed up a lot. And kind of from experience knowing, beginning and end of the year, a lot of final rounds, you see a lot of breakouts, in my opinion, in sportsmen. Middle of the year, when it's hot and stuff, track's probably not as good. Maybe they go a little slower. So kind of had that in my mind. And I don't know that I was trying to go 90 ever, just maybe at least go 90, if that makes sense.
How deep is your bag of tricks, Bo, when it comes to all the different moves that get made? I know Alan does, and I certainly try. With .90 racing, with the throttle stops, not everybody easily understands. First to the finish line wins the race, right? That there's all these creative moves that are happening down there, but to explain them is one thing, to actually execute them is a totally different thing. So talk a little bit about some of the things that you did en route to victory, whether it be, how much are you holding down there? You're trying to run 90, you're trying to get to the finish line first, but are you holding 5? Are you holding 2? Are you holding 8? Does it change round by round? Are you spot dropping? Kind of touch on some of the things that are required to be successful in super gas.
Yeah, I've never been a hot guy, but I have just been fortunate enough to do the chasing a lot. So having a faster car probably helps in the way I drive. But there's so many different ways, but you can also overthink it. I mean, these cars are pretty good. That car might have moved 9 thou through the whole week in 60 foot, which is a big help. So you can kind of dial it. But actually, I had an issue Saturday morning or Sunday morning. I woke up and I had no power. And I had these real lightweight lithium batteries. They were new, but only thing I had left to put in, so I swapped them real quick. I had batteries that weighed 80 pounds more. So I threw 80 pounds in the trunk, sped the car way up, and it lost like 460 by putting the 80 pounds in the rear. So got that figured out. That's the way I raced it from Sunday. I guess we had 3 rounds Sunday, Monday to the final. Yeah, it's not a lot of bag of tricks with me. It seems like I trick myself out of a lot of win nights whenever I try that. But just try to at least go 90, maybe 88, 87. But you have to change it up. Like you said, so many people can dial your car as well as you can. So just to be able to go down there, you have to know if you hit the tree or not. And sometimes I really feel like I know that, and I look at my time slip and I was way off. That happened to me in the Fling a lot this weekend. Yeah, a lot.
Got it. Nope.
Happened to me in the final round of the practice tree race with Pete. I missed it. 15.
Yeah, but you tied, so. Yeah.
Oh, you've heard that story, Bo?
He was there. Yeah. Everybody that was there heard the story. Believe me.
Right. Yando box. I told him to use a portatory box next time, so maybe that'll change.
Definitely.
He went down to the wire against one of the greatest of all times. All right, let's transition to Pro Stock, Bo. The countdown is your friend. You have gained hundreds of points, and the car is moving in the right direction. But this is the rebirth, the new opportunity, however you want to call it, to make a charge to the front of the point standings, starting in Maple Grove. So what's it going to take for you and your team to be successful?
Well, first of all, in 17, when I was lucky enough to win the championship, I hated the change over in points. You know what I mean? Because it did bring everybody closer. The last couple of years, I love it because I did gain points by starting over, and it's just, I think it's 10 rounds between each deal. So if you have a couple good races, you can hop right back in the middle of things. It's very hard to win from down low, but you never know. Anything can happen. Yeah, our car was definitely better. Just had a bad luck. I've had a lot of bad luck this year. Bad luck blew down in front of us around at Indy. That was good. I feel. But no, my crew works hard. That whole team works hard. I'm happy to be a part of them. I gotta do some winning for Jason, and luckily we have 2 cars, and they can both make some moves in the countdown.
Alan?
Have you done anything since Indy? Because your car has been okay, not great. Did the guys take it back, field strip it, wire it, anything? I mean, have you guys gone back and said, we need to figure out why this car is not running at the front of the field? I mean, it's crazy in Pro Stock, right? You're 100.5 off, and so you're 9th instead of 2nd. But do you feel like there's maybe something in there you're missing? And have you guys gone to any lengths since Indy to try to make sure you show up with a better car at Reading? Yeah,
the guys take the car apart, search everything, check everything. I do believe we do shine at certain parts, but you cannot miss that good qualifying session at any race. And that's what we have been doing. I think maybe 3rd qualifier, I was 2nd. I actually got bonus points. I was 2nd fastest or quickest for the session, which put us back there in qualifying. If you miss the good session, you're trouble. I mean, you're best to be 10th to 7th. Make good runs the next day. So that's our goal. Qualifying has been our toughest point this year. because you get down there 8-9 in your first pair. It's tough to, for one, make a good run, and if you do, you're a little bit slow. So we need to work on the qualifying part, and if we qualify good and ready, you'll see us go a lot of rounds.
Excellent. All right, Bo, back to the U.S. Nationals. Is there any truth to the rumor that the WFO shirt that's available at Hot Rod Randy's is actually good luck? Because, you know, the data suggests you get the shirt, you win the U.S. Nationals. Now, I don't know if that's going to work for everybody, but you seem to approve it. What say you?
Let's just say this. I carry 3 because a lot of times we have more than one round. So it's really funny. If you want to win Saturday, you need to start out. To make it to Sunday, you have to win Saturday, right? So I put the shirt on for Saturday. I'm like, man, hope I didn't use it up. So I have wore that shirt, and it has been in a lot of final rounds, and a lot of win lights. So I don't know, Joe. I think everybody should have one. Honestly, I don't want to run against everybody that have one, but I mean, it's definitely. I have definitely won a lot of rounds with that WFO shirt.
Well,
please tell me that you wash it. Please tell me that you're not one of those superstitious, right? Like somebody said, "Oh, I'll never wash this again." And please tell me you wash it. Absolutely
wash it. Yeah. You're not washing the lucky out. I think it's just a whole deal. But I really like. I had 3 honestly, because Indy's like first round, right. And I happen to like that part of racing where a lot of guys, if they get on the road, are hard to beat. So I kind of like. I feel like everybody's starting over. And again, having that faster car maybe helps that.
Excellent. Well, Bo, good luck this weekend. It's going to be fun watching you. I will tell you, though, someone posted in the comment section, and their Facebook user, I can't tell you who it is, and I don't know who it is, but they say you're the second best driver in the Butner household.
Well, that's probably Rain Lynn herself, but I would agree with that. That's definitely the second best good looking in the household. There's only 2 of us. So
yeah, you're definitely not going to win that one.
Not going to win that one, but no, he's very good, and got the Mustang around back. He's probably her orange girl behind me. That's going to be a 1090 car here soon. So I think she pretty much has a car for every class now.
Wait, which car is going to be a 1090 car? I got to bring up
this orange.
Yes.
69. Yeah, but it actually had this motor in it, and we put it in that one. So you can see her dragsters in the back, and then there's the Mustang. I really want to get her more involved in super stock. She hasn't got to race a lot of that. And such a cool class, and a lot of the good old racers are there, and she just enjoys the sportsman racing. I don't think you ever see her in a professional car.
Well, we said something about Pro Stock a year ago in Vegas, and so I don't know. I'd like to see her get her license or do something. But one more quick note: you guys were on the cover of Drag Illustrated. That is a big deal. Cover of National Dragster, cover of Drag Illustrated. Being on WFO, but that had to be pretty cool for you guys.
That's awesome, but for us to do this as a family and together is very awesome. But we don't get me wrong. I love professional racing, and I'll be a pro as long as I can. But we started in the sportsman racing ranks. It means a lot to us. We have a lot of good friends. It is a great big family. But just to be on the cover of anything, and maybe Alan can speak to you about an idea he talked to me about for people who win races that can't always be on those covers. So I think there's a lot to be said by that. Every one I've ever had, we framed. In fact, if I had a picture, if I could turn this around, I'd show you. There's a whole wall made of that Drag Illustrated deal already. So it's a big deal. We're very thankful to be a part of that.
Excellent. Bo, congratulations on winning Indy again, and good luck at the Pep Boys NHRA Nationals at Maple Grove. And you never know. You got a shot to win the championship. That's what the countdown is all about. Good luck. Go get them.
Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow or soon.
See you in a couple of days.
There we go. Bo Butner with us here on WFO Radio. It's like you're waiting for St. Peter to come out and ask for your entry. Like, you were a good person. They should have the harp music in the background, some smoke, the white floor. It's like heaven. It's like drag race heaven.
The place is pretty amazing. The typical wear home, and they've built a very nice living space in one end of it, and then the rest of it is the garage where they keep their race cars, and they've got everything they need there to service them and work on them. And then, the Boar's Nest, because I think that Randy Lynn's a Dukes of Hazzard fan, so she had to build a Boar's Nest.
Absolutely.
And it really, really is a neat place, and it's a good place where they can go work on their stuff, keep it fresh, and it's just a good environment. Everything about it. I'm a big believer that, if you go into a dingy, grungy place, that it just affects your attitude. And if you go into a nice, clean, shiny place, it affects your attitude. And my shop might not be as nice, clean, and shiny as his is, but it certainly isn't greasy and dingy. When I come in here to work on something, I know where everything is. Everything's pretty well organized, everything. And so I just think that's I think that's an important thing. And his place is pretty nice.
Absolutely. Homey. Your place is homey. It's a wonderful place. All right. A couple more minutes I want to spend on preview. And since we just talked pro stock, both sitting 11th in the points, right? There's 16 racers that are eligible for the championship, spanning 168 points. But, Fernando Sr., great friend, love them. I don't know what would have to happen. It'd be a miracle of math for him to go on and win the championship because, Hartford and Erica and Dallas and all these people would have to have terrible countdowns. I don't know if that's happening. Who are your favorites? Dallas Glenn clearly has been driving very well throughout the year. Hartford just broke through, right? Had his big breakthrough moment, multiple wins, won the U.S. Nationals. Confidence can't be higher. Erica, looking really great confidence-wise. Greg Anderson, he's back in 7th, but he's been quick and fast all of a sudden. Troy Coughlin, multiple race wins. Derek Kramer, 4 final rounds in a row. Aaron Stanfield has been hovering right. This is impossible, in my opinion, to handicap like we were talking about moments ago. It's just too tough.
Well, I don't know. I think that this year, overall, the KB cars have seemed to have a little bit of a performance edge. Kind of like the elite cars did last year. Last year, the elite cars, Erica in particular, seemed like they had a little bit of a performance edge. This year, it seems to me like the KB Titan cars have a little bit of a performance edge. I think if I'm penciling it in, I like Matt Hartford. I like Dallas just because of what they've done, and both of them are running pretty good right now. Dallas will be the first one to tell you that, his nickname, he hasn't lived up to his nickname in a while. And they've been working with the car, trying to make some adjustments because he feels like going into the countdown, he's going to need to be better on the tree than some of those 25s and 30s that he's been having as of late. I think Erica is coming in with a chip on her shoulder, and I think that makes her even more dangerous. But I think that those three, in my mind, are the favorites for the championship. Would it be stunning, and would I fall over backwards if Troy Coughlin won it? No. If Derek Kramer can get on another roll and go to 4 final rounds in a row, then all of a sudden, man, he's right back in the mix. And again, that wouldn't, I wouldn't faint if that happened. I firmly believe that one of the Quadra boys is going to win a race before the year's over. Are they championship favorites? Not in my mind, but I think their top 5 wouldn't be completely out of the question. And I do really believe that one of them will be in the winner's circle before long. It just will set the tone at Maple Grove. You look at Kid Chaos. He has had a little bit, his car certainly is trending in the right direction here as of late. And, love Hartford, and the fact that he won Indy, he absolutely deserved it, had a great car. But you can't look at the performances of Indy for about half the field simply because of what happened in the first pair of race cars. When you end up in round number 1 with what was, in essence, a crippled lane on the racetrack, and there's just nothing you can do about it. One of those things that happens when you're racing. But if your driver was in that lane, Greg Anderson was over there, had no chance. Bo was over, had no chance. I don't think that I don't hold that against you. And like I used to have a teacher that if you had one absence, then all of a sudden you couldn't get an A in the class. You were just blackballed from the top of the list. So I don't think you can look at Indy exclusively and say, this guy was out first round in Indy. He's got no momentum. He's got no chance, because that's absolutely not true. I think that there's definitely some other cars in the field that could come up and make some noise, but I really believe that the top 3 have just half a hundredth edge over the rest of the field, and that's Dallas, Matt, and probably Erica.
All right. Well, we shall see. And what I love is that we are going to be there and experiencing it. I see Christie Meyer-Johnson down there. We're going to bring her on. Scott Palmer just tried to connect here in a minute. We're going to get to the whole Stampede of Speed thing. So I'm going to shorten up my Pro Stock motorcycle and ask you the question this way. Gauge or the field? That's Gauge.
Gauge. Yeah. Gauge could lock the championship up, start over, and finish second. His bike is that good compared to the field right now. And it just, if Matt Smith can figure out how to make his bike go 60 feet, then I think he jumps right into the middle of this. Because if you look at the numbers, Matt Smith has been stride for stride with Gage down the back. He's been stride for stride. It looks like Matt Smith is making the best power. But when Gage is going 103, 104 to 60 foot, and Matt's going 111,
right,
you cannot overcome that. You just simply cannot overcome it. If Matt can figure out what the magic combination is and get his bike down to the 104, 105, 103 range to 60 feet, then he becomes a serious contender to Gage. But right now it's Gage, and then it's everybody else.
Okay. All right. And then we didn't talk funny car. I feel like that's a pro stock situation right there. Like Caps surging, defending champion, but you got Hagen and you got Height. They're each of them, like, for my money, they were the big three last year, and they're all chasing their fourth championship against one another to, like, break out against one another. That's an interesting story. But this year, J.R. Todd is fast. This year, there's a couple of other players. Wilkerson's got multiple race wins. He can get you. Chad Green, total X factor. Chad Green, what's he going to do? John Force is in the mix. Cruz Pedregon, all of a sudden they've got performance right at the right time. So very difficult to handicap favorites. But if I think you're going to do that, Tasca, oh my gosh, I got yelled at for not saying Tasca.
Yeah, don't leave out Bob, because I was just going to say you need to put his name on that list too.
So what do you see? Like, it could be the way you run the countdown and the way the breaks go.
I really feel that the big four from last year are still there. And that's Height, Hagen, Caps, and Tasca. I think if I had to handicap right now, I believe the champion comes out of one of those four cars. Now, again, if JR goes on a run and proves me wrong, I'm okay. I'm certainly not saying he's got no chance. If Tim Wilkerson does, okay. And, he's got a good car. And as you said, multiple wins. Chad Green, I think if I'm one of the others, Chad Green is my biggest nightmare. I don't want to run him first round. I don't want to run him second round. Can they string enough runs together to be a legitimate championship contender? I haven't seen that yet, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. But if I'm one of the others, Chad Green is a nightmare to me if I have to race him in the first round or the second round. And as you said, Cruz right now is on an upswing as far as performance goes, so he could certainly get up there and mix it up. But I firmly believe that the champion will come out of the top four, and that's Hagen, Height, Caps, and Tasca. That's my opinion.
Alan, great job as usual. Really appreciate you coming on. We're headed to Maple Grove, the House of Chaos. It is going to be awesome.
I'm headed tomorrow. I am looking forward to it, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what you and Christie have to say about the Stampede of Speed, because I have to be honest with you. The first time they announced that, I almost kind of went, oh, geez, okay. But the last couple of years, that has turned into a pretty cool thing, and they're continuing to grow and continuing to make it better. I think bringing the Jegs All-Stars in is a huge thing. So, and anyway, I'm very interested to hear what you and Christie have to talk about that, because, as I said, the first time I heard the idea, I was lukewarm on it at best, but what they have done with that over the last couple of years has really impressed me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next.
Excellent. Well, we're about to find out. Thank you, Alan. Great job, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, Joe, take care.
Here he goes, the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, with us here on WFO Radio. And yes, the aforementioned Christie Meyer-Johnson, we're going to bring her into the show momentarily as soon as I see Scott, because joining Christie is also the guy who's doing the Nitro Sideshow. We got to hang out last year. There's Christie. Let's bring in Scott Palmer. Okay, first, Christie, can you hear me? How are you?
I can hear you. I'm great. How are you, Joe?
All right. Little echoey there with Christie. And what about Palmer? How about you, Palmer? Can we hear you?
How about me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you guys hear each other?
I can barely hear Christie, but I know her so well that I can read her lips, I think.
Exactly. Christie, I don't know. I think maybe you should switch to your phone just because it's got a better microphone than you're on a laptop. But I got to tell you, they look great. Like, the background looks great. While you work on that, Christie, let's talk to Palmer. Palmer, you're back. Nitro Sideshow, Stampede of Speed, the whole thing. But I think a lot of people want to know, hey, man, are you all right? You look all right. You went through some stuff. We were like riding with you. Thank goodness Scott Palmer is with us to this moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a pretty serious accident for sure. And like I tell everyone, you don't. Unfortunately, it's a risk we all take. We all know the risks that are at hand. But, I came out lucky, and I'm here to race some more, and I've got more to do. So, I've been laid up a little bit. The hardest part of the whole deal has just been making myself not go to the shop and start doing something, So I've been kind of laying low and just watching all the racing. There's so much good racing going on in the world right now that it's it's great. And I've used this time to get a little more prepared for the Stampede of Speed, which is what we're here to talk about. And to me, that's a huge event for the year. And we're just trying to grow this event as we go throughout the years, and hopefully we can get this thing really big. I think like Alan said, at first you hear about it and you think, okay, well, let's see how that goes. And then as you see the week progresses, as the week goes on, it just grows. The excitement for it just grows and grows and gets bigger and bigger. I really love the event.
I agree. We had a blast last year. We had a blast. All right, let's bring back Christie, and we're going to keep fighting.
I know. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. There's these, whatever. Let's move forward. Christie, how excited are you to be back on WFO with Scott Palmer as we begin the hype machine of the Stampede of Speed? I'm putting in the chat section right now for everybody the link to free tickets. I will put a QR code up on the screen momentarily, but tell me about what you guys are working on. As we're 3 races away. We'll have 3 races and then the Stampede of Speed. So people should be planning right now. That's why we're having you on now, to give people a little bit of time.
Sounds great. We're super excited. Obviously, we are so thrilled to have you back, Joe, as the voice of the Stampede of Speed.
Thank you for the invite. We loved it.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be the same without you. You're family now.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Obviously, we couldn't do this without Scott. So we're so thrilled to be doing this again for the 3rd year in a row with Scott. So we have some really exciting things planned. Every year we want to keep it very similar in the sense so people know what to expect, but we like to throw in a few new surprises along the way. So we're excited to start the whole 10 days this year with the Scott Palmer Nitro Sideshow, and we're kicking it off with drag racing on Friday night, right after the cattle drive that day in downtown Waxahachie. We have our cattle drive at noon. If anybody wants to come out and see, it's a pretty spectacular event to see cattle going through downtown Waxahachie.
Well, so I'm going to be there for that this year.
Okay.
Last year, I'm super excited. It's like, no, you got to be here for the whole thing. Like, you got to experience it, the full pull Stampede of Speed. So I'm getting in on Thursday, and I'm going to put a date on this for everybody, right? So 10/6, we're talking about the cattle drive, and then Scott Palmer Nitro Sideshow. That is Friday night on the 6th of October. Everybody follow along from that point forward. Continue.
Yes. Yeah, so Friday at noon is the cattle drive through downtown Waxahachie. It's a really cool opportunity to see cattle just like old school going downtown, just through around the courthouse. And, it's very Texas. It's very Western. And then that night we kick off with Scott Palmer's Nitro Sideshow. We have a cool car show that night. We have the Mad Dog special. It's a $5 hot dog, chips, and a drink for families. And then we have all of Scott's, crazy ideas that are going to... Yeah.
Let's drill down on the crazy ideas. If you have anything you want to ask him, Christie, that you ever, didn't feel comfortable asking him, now's the time. We got him.
She doesn't want to know until the last minute. She doesn't want to know. So
I know we talked a couple days ago, and he's like, I'm still working on it. So you never know. We never know what Scott's going to pull out. But, my dad has been doing crazy stuff my whole life. So it's not too far from my normal. So I expect him to bring, crazy. And that's why we want to work with Scott, because he's willing to do things other people aren't. And we want to bring a great show to the town. We want to introduce people to NHRA drag racing so they will come back and just whet their appetite Friday night. So they'll come back the next weekend for the Fall Nationals. So, it's a great opportunity for people to come out and experience it for the first time. But also that night it's our 2nd year to do this. It's our Race to Feed program. So that is our food drive for the community, for Ellis County. And so basically it's a competition between the 2 cities that are right outside of the Motorplex, Ennis and Waxahachie. And so if you bring a canned good or dried food item, you get $10 off your ticket that night. And it's a competition to see which town can bring the most to support the local food banks. So whoever wins, whichever city wins, gets a banner at the Motorplex as the official Race to Feed champion. And it's just a way that we can honor those around us and make sure people in need get what they need. We're so fortunate at the Motorplex and my family, and we just want to do everything we can to give back to the community and make sure people are taken care of. So it's a cool opportunity that we get to do together.
Super exciting. Now, last year was awesome. A couple of mayors battling it out, food drive, big stacks of food. And so any WFO listeners out there that are planning on going to any night of the Stampede of Speed, obviously, but if you're going to come in on that Friday, be sure to bring something. to help out for the total. Now, if you don't know either of the two cities, then it's up to you. Maybe you could be like a kingmaker, right? Like we could decide, do some research. Scott, so what are you thinking about for this Nitro Sideshow? I know you're a last minute guy. Last year we had a lot of fun. You drove last year. I don't know if you're going to drive this year. That's up for you to say, and maybe you don't know right now.
We're going to see. The doctor says that's going to be really on the fine line of whether I can or not. But either way, we'll have JR Chevelle there. We'll have, I've got some really good guys. I've got some front engine cars coming. Joey Gallegos, John Brooks' car that Gary Wheeler drives, which, I think one of the things we're missing in drag racing is we're going to have some sort of a shootout of what's popular right now is small tire racing. And we're going to have some sort of a small tire shootout for big money, like an 8-car, the best of the best, kind of like the Superstar shootout coming up for Top Fuel. But I want to do something for that area of small tire racers and put up big money for that deal. And I'm talking to some big guys on it, but give those guys who are not street outlaw heroes a chance to run for a spotlight. But a lot of these guys they've never even seen a nitro car run. A lot of these street racers and no prep racers and small tire racers, they've never been to a national event. So I want them to witness nitro, and then we witness what they do. And I think that will be a great show. And we could have an 8-car shootout for big money. I'm working with some guys on it, and we're trying to get the right characters to come to this race. So we've got plenty of guys that want to come and run the race, but we want to get some characters there that, there's all these kids across the country that do this that us NHRA guys don't even know who they are. And I know who they are now because I've been researching them. So it's going to be a great deal. We're also going to we're going to pull some cars in the Stampede in Waxahachie with the PBR guys. We've got people from PBR coming over, and because they're in town in Fort Worth the same weekend. So we're going to do some joint stuff. We'll have a meeting with them Thursday. They're going to send PBR officials and cowboys out for the week. And it's a great joint deal that we've got going on because PBR is helping me. And even though I got hurt, they actually said, we're used to this. You are a cowboy. You got hurt. You're like one of our bull riders. You're just out for a few,
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm not flashing pictures of Studezilla on the screen, certainly like after the math, but it was a big part of the Stampede of Speed last year. And I'm having trouble getting by the fact that I'm just so happy that you're with us, Scott. Like those videos were just nuts. And where were we? We're in the zoo on Saturday night of Brainerd.
Yeah.
And the voice, Sammy Eubanks, pulled me aside and told me about your deal. And we had no knowledge and we had no nothing. And it was just like, oh man. And then when the video first rolled out, that one that you guys posted, and it's like a fan video right in the darkness. And then the one that was produced, like, I am just so thankful that I get to do anything with Scott Palmer, Christie. Like, man, but I don't know what to say.
I agree. We told him, he gave us all a big scare, and happy belated birthday, by the way, Scott. Scott just had a birthday.
Thank you.
But, we're just so thankful he's alive. And obviously we know this is a risky business, and obviously Scott knows what he's getting into, but at the same time, we're just so grateful, for the safety features in these cars, and that, Scott's a great driver and he's safe and he can come back to the Stampede of Speed. We're just super thankful. It puts everything in a different perspective,
Really does. Really does.
That car was definitely psycho, and I don't want anybody to think I don't take that crash seriously, because I do, but there is stuff in the works to replace that. That's not going away. But even though it seems like it was really crazy idea, obviously the safety features on that car worked. I'm still here. I came out with this broken, part of my arm and my hand is a little messed up, but that's just from basically flop. I was reaching for the parachutes whenever it hit the wall. So if my arm hadn't been over there flopping around, I wouldn't have even hurt this. I don't believe I'd have been banged up. I still got a little bit of a black eye. I'm still a little bit beat up, but all in all, everything on that car did its job, or I wouldn't be here. So that says a lot to, some safety features that we use, even though we're doing crazy ideas. We're all still somewhat aware of the dangers, and we do the best we can.
No, I'm just sorry to break into the interview with like personal emotional stuff, but I can't get past it. Our Patreon meetup is going to be at the Stampede of Speed. We got WFO listeners coming from around the country, around the world. A couple people from Alberta, Canada coming down. You know, they're a VIP member. We meet up each year, and we're coming to the Stampede of Speed. So Friday in the book, Saturday and Sunday concert time. The plan of this, for drag racing fans who are always saying like, man, you know, we wish we had more people at our races and more people knew about us. That's the whole plan behind these 2 nights, right, Christie? Like, we're going to have a couple of great concerts. We're going to expose people who don't know about drag racing to drag racing. And last year, Palmer had a couple of fans go walking into his pit area, and they had never seen anything like it. And it was like an epiphany moment. Poof. This is what we need to do. Merging things together. Diamond Rio going to be there. You got like 90s country on one night. You got modern country on another night. Just talk on that a little bit, Christie, because I think we saw last year that it's a winning formula.
Absolutely. And you're right, Joe. That's our exact plan, is to introduce drag racing, to introduce a new fan to drag racing, new generation, a person that would never think, you know, I'm going to go to the drag races this weekend. So our plan is basically to bring people out to have an incredible time with it's a festival, but it's more than just a music festival. It is music, it's bull riding. It is on Saturday, we're having a professional cornhole tournament. We're having a junior bull riding this year on Saturday for kids. It's a qualifying for the World Finals in Vegas. So it's a really neat opportunity to see kids ride the bulls. And then we're going to have great music. And in between rounds at the concert, we're going to be running down the track. And this year, we're calling it the Texas Invitational. And there's actually some pretty cool, a pretty cool trophy up on the line. So later this week, we'll be announcing who's going to be involved in the Texas Invitational. But it's a really cool opportunity for fans to pick a favorite and to root them on all weekend long and see who takes home the hardware. So we'll have some jet cars that night. I think we'll have some junior cars that night, showing people, you know, where it starts. You know, kids start this at a young age, and then they work their way into the professional setting later on. So that Saturday, like you said, it's my childhood on stage. It's Clay Walker, it's Sawyer Brown, Diamond Rio, Ricochet. It's so exciting to me, Black Hawk. And it's basically my dream concert on Saturday night. And we also have another surprise this year on Saturday night. We will be having our very first drone show during the concert. So that night, people will get a little surprise. Everybody that walks through the gates will get a surprise, and then they get to enjoy the drone show in between sets. It's right before Clay Walker. So, you know, people need to stick around for that because it's going to be incredible. And then we end the night with fireworks as usual. And then we roll back into Sunday and we do it all over again. But Sunday, we have professional bull riding instead. We have our barbecue contest. We have our beer expo. And this year I think we have 14 different breweries that will be there, and people can taste their beer and see what they think. And then we have the Texas Invitational race again, and we'll be crowning the winner. And then we have an incredible lineup with Tyler Halverson, William Beckman, Wade Bowen, Ian Munsick, and then we have Midland as our headliner. And then, just as we've done the past few years, we will end the night with the lantern release in between Ian and Midland, and, you know, culminate on this really incredible weekend.
So that lantern release, like, I had no idea what that was last year, right? And I like lantern release. I don't know about you, Palmer, but like lantern release. It was like, what is this going to be, right? And I ended up loving it.
It's magical. People have no idea how breathtaking it is to see 10,000 lanterns, 15,000 lanterns in the sky. It's such a magical moment. And, you know, it's just really neat to do it with all of our friends and family and the people that help us, you know, put this whole thing together as a team at the Motorplex, and people like Scott, people like you, Joe. It's a really special moment to celebrate together, because it's not for the faint of heart what we do, you know, putting on a 10-day event. So.
Yeah, no, it was great. I was there with Hagen last year. Hagen and Chloe, they had sent a lantern up. I'm like, wow, this is actually really cool, the lantern release. And for anybody who's wondering, they go clean it all up the next day. Don't worry.
Yes.
All right.
It's quite the spectacle. The first year, 2 years ago, the first time I saw the lanterns go up, it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. The next year I was braced for it, but we brought people along with us just to see these lanterns, because this year I'm going to bring my mom, because, you know, that's an awesome thing to watch. I mean, it's something you just stand there and watch, because you can't believe what it, the scenery that's happening there at the Texas Motorplex, at a concert with all these race cars. I mean, to me, just to be part of this whole show is pretty impressive.
It really is. Well, and that's why we want people to know everybody's getting ready for the Pep Boys Nationals. We want to give you time to do what you got to do. In the chat section, there is a link that they can sign up if they scan a QR code. I'm not going to put the QR code on the screen. I mean, I guess I can, but I'd have to cover Christie for a second, and that is a very difficult thing. Sorry, Christie. Here it comes. Here's the QR code, everybody. You can scan this code. It'll take you to the link that is in the chat section, and you can get tickets to the Stampede of Speed. And the whole point of this, Christie, is for people from out of state, right, to come to Texas to enjoy this incredible event. Like in state, of course, but out of state, we want people to go there for this spectacle.
Absolutely. We want people to have the Texas experience. We want them to come in to experience Texas hospitality. We want them to have good food, great entertainment, time to spend with their family and their friends in this world. The relationships we have in drag racing are so important to my family. And I just love that people can come to the Motorplex, and it's a special place for people to connect and to create memories and, just to see some things you can't see elsewhere. So that's the goal, is to bring people in, give them a true, if you can take 10 days, great, take your vacation, come down. Or if you can come for one weekend or the other, whatever you can do. We just appreciate people coming and experiencing it and being a part of it with us.
All right, let's move on to Monday. Like what's going on Monday? I'm excited about Wednesday, but we're going day by day of the Stampede of Speed.
Okay.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. So Monday's new. We have a celebrity media event that day. So we're going to bring in some different drivers. We're going to bring in some mayors. We're going to bring in some different people from the DFW area with the media, and they get to drive, get on track, and they get to race the celebrities. So it's a neat opportunity to introduce some more media to the sport. That's our goal, is to continue just to introduce the sport to other people that haven't experienced it. The DFW market is a hard market. We have the Cowboys, we have the Rangers, there's soccer. We have so many things, NASCAR in that market. We want people to see what we're doing at the Motorplex, because once you experience it, as you guys all know, I mean, it's incredible. You cannot translate drag racing on TV and all these videos. You need to be there to feel it and to experience it. So we want them to come out. We want them to see the track, meet some of the drivers, come back for the weekend. So that's Monday. We also have something new on Monday. It's called the fan warm up. So the first 500 fans that sign up to race basically get to take a pass down the track and warm up the track to prepare it for the pros the rest of the week. And you're going to get a little sticker. I warmed up the track. You get a little memorabilia piece. And basically it's an opportunity to come in to take a pass down the historic Texas Motorplex. And all proceeds for that will go to the Race to Feed food drive. So, you pay, it's $25 you pay, and then all that money goes to charity, and you get a chance to get on the track the week of the Fall Nationals and say that you were a part of history. So that's something new we're doing this year. We're pretty excited about it. And so that's Monday. Monday is, just a day to really prepare for the rest of the week.
Yeah, it's connected to Sunday and to Tuesday.
Yeah, right.
We got something going on Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I understand there's a top sportsman, top dragster shootout.
Yes, we're back to doing the top sportsman, top dragster shootout on Tuesday. It's a great day for people to come out and just enjoy, kind of relax. It's much more low key that day, but some great racing going on. They're battling out for some of the belt buckles that we give out. It's just I think it's really a fun night. We really get to enjoy racing. We're not having to do as many things as a team. We get to actually sit there and actually enjoy it.
Tremendous spotlight. Palmer, you're hanging out the whole time, of course, seeing some of these other racers get some spotlight, have a race on Tuesday night for some money, battle out their race cars and working on who the field is exactly. Like, you got to have a couple of grading points, just not anybody can just roll in and race, but very cool that they have that.
Oh, very cool. It's a whole week long of everything. And guys like myself, Jeff Deal, Terry Haddock will be there from start to finish. But myself and Jeff Deal will be there. We'll basically be there the whole week. And what we like about us is, like, especially our pits, during the week when the fans are there, whether you're coming in one day or the whole 10 days, you can come by and see the behind the scenes of Top Fuel Racing. I saw a video that Wes Buck did. I believe it was yesterday. And he was talking about the in-car cameras and showing the behind the scenes of drag racing. We need that more. And I believe that too. I believe that's why Street Outlaws is so popular, because you see behind the scenes and in the cars. And that's one thing we're going to do Friday night is we're going to have more in-car cameras, and we're going to show everybody getting in their car, listen to some of the stuff, and make us a video of that so we can put it out there on YouTube about the Stampede of Speed and behind the scenes of all these racers. Like, a lot of people want to know what you're talking about when they're buckling when you're cinching those seatbelts down, or you're flipping the switches and they're talking to you, say, okay, you know, we're clearing the motor out or whatever. They want to be part of that. And I don't think we have enough of that. I watched this video yesterday and I was just thinking, you know, that's the truth. And that's one thing we want to do, is do some behind the scenes. And during the whole week, they can come through our pits and look in our trailers and see how we service the car in between rounds. And then when they're at the national event, they'll be able to say, oh yeah, I was in that trailer. I watched those guys.
That's great. And this is a perfect time for me to mention the driven show that NHRA is doing. It's up on NHRA.com. They did a day with Caps at the U.S. Nationals from the time he woke up. And like, everybody realizes that, I think, that, you know, the cars are awesome. They're super cool. But what about the humans that are in and around them? And they had two of their videographers, Jacob and Kurt, follow Caps around the entire day. It's up on NHRA.com and NHRA's YouTube channel. Go watch it. It's 25 minutes. It's like a half-hour episode. And it's exactly what Scott's talking about.
And then he wins with the Don Perdome tribute car. I mean, if you don't believe there's a God out there, watch that. I mean, if I'm going to be laid up hurt watching a race from the couch, what a great race to have watched.
You were moved by that?
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Christie?
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it was a pretty special moment. I mean, Barry and I got to go to Indy this year, and we actually had to leave we had to leave on Saturday. So we were there Friday and Saturday, but I got to talk to Don Perdome. I got to see him and say hi. So it was really neat. It was, you know, you can't help but get a little teary when you see these cool things happen. You know, it was such a moment, you know.
Such a moment. All right. So Wednesday now, Stampede of Speed. We're keep going, everybody. The link is in the chat section. You could scan the QR code. But Marvin Rodak is out there, and he is excited about the Champions Dinner, which is, to me, I know what you were trying to do with that, and I bought all in fully. I even went out and literally purchased myself a bolo tie to go with the look.
Yes.
And it went very well. And I think you've captured like what you're trying to do, the big celebration of the people who won, as opposed to, you know, like, yeah, you won. Good job last year. No, you do something to celebrate the victory a year later.
Absolutely. And this is a really special event. And you're right. It went beyond what we could have dreamed and hoped for. It was such a special night. And you looked super sharp, by the way. This year you have a cowboy hat. You have a cowboy hat to add this year.
I know. Now I'm totally thrown askew because I have the hat and I got the tie, but I can't wear the same thing. And I need boots. Do I need boots? Do I not? So yeah, a little window into my world, but we'll move on. Continue.
Okay, well, yes.
When do tickets go on sale? Like, that's what people want to know.
Yes,
like,
tickets are on sale now. Yes, tickets are on sale now at stampedeofspeed.com. So you can get your tickets. Right now we're selling tables, and in the next few weeks we'll be making individual tickets available. So basically, you know, the Champions Dinner is just a really special night to come have dinner with last year's winners, the 4 winners. They pick the meal. This year is an incredible menu. They pick the menu, and then we also invite all the previous winners from the last 37 years of the Fall Nationals. So not only will you see winners from last year, you might see a few other winners from the past 3 decades.
Here's last year's photo, guys.
Yes. And we have an awesome photo booth. So you get, when you buy a ticket or you buy your table, you get to have a picture taken with all the previous winners from last year. I actually have mine. I have mine right here.
Let's see it. 1 second. Look at that. Nice.
Yeah. So everybody gets to take home a commemorative picture with the winners, and you get a fancy dinner. You get a Q&A with Joe. And this year, our sponsor for the Q&A is, again, American Lube and Supply and Royal Purple. We thank Greg Ricketts for sponsoring the Q&A. So Joe gets to talk to all the previous winners and ask them questions. It's a really special night. And then as soon as the party wraps up inside, we move on to the after party. This year we have Dunn and Brooks performing. So we have an awesome cover band with great music. We have a little surprise for everybody that comes, and we have some whiskey tasting, some cigar rolling, everything you need to have a good party outside after an incredible night celebrating these champions.
That was really fun. I'm thinking about it. And just so everybody knows, after it's all over, I go out to my car and I try to start my car and it's out of gas.
Oh man, Joe, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And there's no big deal. We've apparently that light is, it's informative. It tells you that there's not a lot of gas left. And I figured I would just go to the gas station right down the street after it was over, right? Except it never refired. And thanks to the Hartford family for coming back and picking me up. Good job, Matt Hartford, for saving the day. And Nikki the next morning for getting me back to the racetrack. So Champions Dinner, always great. Now Thursday, now we're getting into it. We're getting close to the Fall Nationals. You got the Jegs All-Stars. What do we got planned for Thursday? That's a test session from what I understand.
Well, on Wednesday, we have a professional testing for all the pro teams. And then Thursday is, we jump into Jegs All-Stars. They start all of their qualifying. We start our normal NHRA Thursday schedule. Thursday morning, we're actually having a special breakfast for all the Jegs All-Stars, a little banquet to, welcome them to Texas and to the Stampede of Speed. We are so excited to be adding the Jegs All-Stars to this event. We've done a lot of improvements at the track, just getting ready for them, and we're really excited to host this as a part of the Stampede. So Thursday, we have a lot of action on track, welcoming the Jegs All-Stars, and then Thursday night we have our Fan Fest in downtown Waxahachie. That's from 6 to 9 at the Rail Yard Park, same place as last year. And last year, I think we set a record having the most pro drivers at the autograph session. And this year, I think we're going to blow it out of the water because we will have the pros there along with all the Jegs All-Stars signing autographs for the fans. We have live band, we have food trucks, kids zone with bounce houses, and all the kinds of things you can imagine for a family fun event.
Let me jump in there with Palmer on that one, right? Like, we know that you have to build an autograph session, fan fest kind of thing. Like the first year, people are like, yeah. And then the second year, which was last year, people are like, oh, okay, that place is fun. There's some restaurants, there's some bars around there. We'll just go get dinner ahead of time. Then we'll do the food trucks. I think this year is going to be a blowout. That has the potential to be one of the best fan fests on the tour, or maybe even beyond drag racing. That place, that Rail Yard Park, is perfect. Scott, you were there. You had the Studezilla there. What was your take?
It's an awesome place for an autograph session and to introduce people to what we're doing. And all the drivers were there. It was a huge deal. I think this year's going to be twice as big. It's going to be great. The Jegs All-Star deal is a great race in itself. And to have it part of the Stampede of Speed, I think makes perfect sense. It never even crossed my mind until I heard about it this year. But the Jegs All-Star being at the Stampede of Speed it makes perfect sense. And sportsman racers don't get enough credit. They do not get enough credit for what they do. And I tell everyone when they're talking about the greatest drivers in the world, and they're talking about Top Fuel, Funny Car, even Pro Stock, I said no. I always tell them the greatest drivers in the world are back there in the sportsman pits that you don't even know. Everybody should pay attention because that's where they're coming from.
Why was that important, Christie? Like, there were some things that changed from year to year. The Jegs All-Stars, we love it. It's a great event, but it was kind of lost at the U.S. Nationals because there's 50,000 other things. And I don't know if it was possible to give them their due. And you guys seized on the opportunity to give love, attention to the sportsman racers of drag racing. Why was that so significant for you guys?
Well, for me and from our family, we understand what they do day in and day out. They have jobs. They dedicate their lives to making sure that they can, provide for their family with their normal jobs. But then they work so hard at this sport to make it better, to progress. And I mean, it's just incredible what they do for the sport to keep the sport alive. And so we're super grateful to give them an opportunity where they can have a great facility to come and race, and the recognition that they deserve for all their hard work, because I mean, it's not easy. I mean, it costs so much money, it takes so much time, and it's such a family friendly, these people are doing this together with their families, and they're working hard, and they deserve the recognition. They deserve the time, out there signing autographs and for people to understand what they do to make the sport stay alive. These are the people that are why the pros can do what they do, because they're out there working hard. And then, like Scott said, everybody starts somewhere, and this is just a part of keeping drag racing alive. Just like we're trying to bring in the juniors and some of this stuff, we're trying to show the entire spectrum of drag racing. It's not just the professionals. It's some of the kids at 8 years old starting, 10 years old, 12 years old. I mean, if you think of Erica Enders, what she started as in juniors and has worked her way up. And to me, it just shows the whole spectrum so people can get a true visual of what drag racing really is all about.
Very true. Very true. And let's don't forget that Roger Brogdon is a Texan too, and look what he's done for sportsman racing.
Comp Eliminator back in a big way. People building comp cars because of Brogdon, incentivizing people. It's as simple as that. Like, yes, it's hard to understand the category. Don't worry, we'll explain it to you. Look at these amazing machines.
Yeah. I agree. And he came back from Pro Stock. I knew him from Pro Stock, and then the fact that he went back and did all this for Comp Eliminator makes me interested in Comp Eliminator, because I realized that I missed something along the way. I missed that because I thought it was too complicated. Well, now I'm going back and I'm actually looking up these classes because of what he's done.
That's awesome. Way to go, Scott. That's what it takes. Top fuel racer, like Comp Eliminator. Wow. A lot of people, there's so much that goes into it. It's just so challenging. All right. That brings us to
all there. And we're going to have it all at the Stampede of Speed. That's pretty impressive. It's 10 days of everything in drag racing is going to be there.
Yeah, I don't know. You need a T-shirt. I survived the Stampede of Speed. 10 days of mayhem.
We used to have T-shirts that said, "I survived a weekend with Scott Palmer Racing." There's a few of them out there. That's from a while back when times were really, really tough in our pits, and if you were lucky if you got saltine crackers. But us and Laganas and all of us ran together and didn't have a lot of parts or money, but we had those. Maybe we'll make up. Maybe we need to make some. I survived the Stampede of Speed.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely long. So that brings us to the Fall Nationals Friday, and I was concerned and confused, and I went out of my way to make sure this link that I'm putting up in the chat section and the one at the QR code, it says when you go to there that there are tickets and you correspond the dates, and the date says Friday. And so I was like, hey, man, you get tickets to the Fall Nationals on Friday through this deal for free. And it came back multiple times. I apologize for over checking on that one.
Good.
But I don't want to tell people, hey, man, you're going to get a free Friday ticket to the Fall Nationals if you go to this link, unless it's true. And it's true. That's a great idea for the Friday night of the Fall Nationals. Let's pack that place.
Absolutely. And that's what we want. We want people to come out. The schedule this year is really exciting to me. I mean, there is an opportunity for you to go to work or to travel in on Friday and not miss a ton of work and still get to see 2 rounds of qualifying. So I'm really pleased with the schedule that NHRA created this year for us. We have an incredible show planned for Friday night under the lights. We call it Friday Night Live at the Motorplex. We have a special guest. It's Busted Knuckles. He's a trick Harley Davidson, and he will be doing some tricks on the return road. We have fireworks. We have incredible nitro cars going down the track. We have some special awards. We have our legends. Our legends will receive their spurs on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because this year we have 3 legends. Our legends will be announced this afternoon, actually. So just stay tuned and find out who the Texas Motorplex legends are today. And then that night, after all of the pros, we have a drone show. We have jet cars. We can't wait to hear you say fire, Joe. Fire. I know.
That's the easy version.
You are so famous for that. I mean, this morning I was talking to my mom and I told her I was going to be on your show, and she said, oh, whose show? And I said, Joe Castello. She goes, oh, fire. And I was like, oh my gosh, even Deborah Meyer. So you are so famous with your fire.
That is so great. Amazing to hear you say that. I am humbled by that, what you just did, and I am just have to take the opportunity to tell everybody.
Oh, there you go.
You can get your fire t-shirts available in the WFO store on our website. Anyway,
I have one. Get one. They're great. Joe gave me one. I love it. But yes, so you are beyond famous around the Texas Motorplex for that, and so we can't wait to hear you say it. right after, we'll have a drone show, which I don't think has ever been done at a drag race. I
No.
think this is new. And so
Yes.
we're trying to bring new things. We're trying to bring new people. We're trying to give everybody an incredible show, experience a cool Texas, beautiful night sky. So we'll have the drone show and fireworks. And then we always end Friday night with a party on the starting line. So all the fans can come down, they can walk on the track, they can hang out for a little bit. So Friday's pretty exciting. We have a lot in store.
Yeah. And then, Saturday and Sunday of a national event, then it becomes, like, in my opinion, and please, build upon this, but about business, right? Like final qualifying, final eliminations. Somebody is going to win the Wally for the Fall Nationals, which is a pivotal race in the NHRA playoff. Like, that is a race that we've seen. Caps just said it the other day on the show. That's where it turns.
Yeah.
It turns in Texas, like one way or the other for you. It turns right or it turns wrong at the Texas Motorplex.
Absolutely. And it does. We do get down to business Saturday and Sunday. By the time they get there, it's all racing. We have a few fun things. We have a program with a kid again, where we get to bring out some kids with some medical issues, and they get to come and experience the races for the first time with their families. We have the draw auction on Saturday night, where people can come in and bid on great memorabilia. They get to bid against some of the pro drivers, and it's all for a good cause for the Draw Foundation and the couple fun things in there, but the most of it is business. You're right. We'll crown some winners for the Jags All-Stars on Saturday. And then Sunday, Sunday's schedule is just incredible. I think we have 10 final rounds in a row. I mean, it's an incredible schedule. So we're pretty excited. And, at the Motorplex, when you win, you don't just get the Wally, you get the hat too. So, that's a cool moment. You get to see Oliver the Watusi, our mascot, and you get that hat.
The hat means everything. The hat, I now have a hat, and
Yes.
I'm super excited about it. No, it's one of the amazing trophies that are out there on the NHRA tour. Final thoughts, Scott. Thank you both for taking the time to go like minute by minute of the Stampede of Speed. But I think it's important for everybody to know and understand. It's drag racing talk anyway. It's exciting. It's fun. But this is a huge event. It's a few weeks away. Everybody's got time to plan. Right. Get your tickets, plan it out, plan your adventure. If you can make 10 days, that's great. But figure the things you want to do. I would definitely go to the Champions Dinner if you can get in on that. That's going to be an elite ticket in a year or two. So I would try to lock myself in on that. But Scott Palmer, final thought, go.
We're going to start announcing more of our plans. I've got drivers lined up, and myself and Christie and the Motorplex. We're going to start pretty much just leaking it out there, who's coming and a little bit about them, some of their history, like the Blue Max for sure is coming, because you just can't have anything in Texas without the Blue Max being part of it. So it's just such a historic 100%. And I talked to Ronnie Young, and we've got that worked out. But I want to start like saying, explaining a little bit more about them, just give a little history on them, and then we're going to start releasing that. We'll release the shootout that's going to be in between our sessions of nitro cars, and we'll just start giving out some more details. We'll have both of our SPR Top Fuel dragsters will be running at the Texas Motorplex. Whether I'm driving or not is very marginal, but we will be there, and there'll be people driving them, and we come to get a cowboy hat. We're coming to get one.
Exciting. Very exciting. And Scott, you're welcome to come back. Just, you got to hit me up, man. Hey, I want to come back, and I got something to say, and we'll make some time for you on WFO. Christie, final thought as we get ready for this. Like, I am excited, and I have very little actual responsibility. What it must be like over there at the Plex.
You have a huge responsibility. You are the voice. You are what everybody hears all week long. No, we are super excited. Our team is working extremely hard to be ready for everybody to come. We are super grateful to be able to do this. We have an incredible team that is working day in and day out, and we'll be ready for you when you get there. And we just hope it's the best experience you've had in drag racing, and, you get that true Texas hospitality. And Joe, we just are looking forward. We're counting the days down, Joe.
I am too. That's why I was looking at the schedule, and this is like a yearly thing. At the start of the countdown, we start promoting the Stampede of Speed, because, people, they plan a few weeks out. They don't plan a few months out. They plan a few weeks out, and there's still plenty of time to get in there and be a part of this event. Scott and Christie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show, walking us through, and we'll see you both in a few weeks.
Okay, thank you both.
Thanks so much. See you guys.
Later,
Good
Scott.
show. Can't wait.
Thank you, Scott. That is awesome. Scott Palmer, just super excited, like to see Scott. And thank you, Christie, for all you do. And, putting that responsibility with me, because I love it. I had a great time last year, and this year, like now, like I feel empowered to participate in the beer tasting. Really is what it's all about. All right, final comments in the comment section. But before I go any further, those of you who are watching, who are not watching on your mobile device, this is the QR code to scan for tickets to the Stampede of Speed. And when you do, it'll take you right to the link. All you got to do is sign up, and they're going to send you some free tickets. That's right, free. And what does that get you in? All of those different things, including Friday of the Fall Nationals, which is pretty amazing. Now, the Champions Dinner is a totally different ticket that you've got to buy, but amazing stuff. So get in on that, and the link is in the chat like 6 times. I'm spamming my own audience with the link. All right, let me tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to tell you about something else that's vital important. Don't go anywhere. We talked a lot about sportsman racers on the show. Christie and Scott and Bo and Alan. And this sport, drag racing, is like a ladder. And you start out buying a car that you like, and you don't view it as just transportation. That's number one. Like, this car is fun, or it's something about my personality, or I like the way it looks. It's not just something to get you to school or to the grocery store. That's the first step, right? And along the way, some people go into car show world and some people go into racing. And I went to car show world, and I found it fun and cool, but not as cool as racing. So when you get into racing, there's just test and tune. You're going down the track. You're trying to improve your best time. Like my friends down there at Homestead Miami Speedway's Fast Lane Friday. They don't have a real full track where they can bracket race. So they just do their best. But at some point in that ladder is the Lucas Oil Series racer, the person who comes out to the track and they're taking days off of work and they're prioritizing their time and they're buying tires and buying parts and keeping all of these businesses going, keeping all the tire businesses and the shock businesses and the oil businesses. And they're hopefully buying coffee from Marvin and all of that stuff, right? They're out there at the NHRA every week, the national event. This weekend, Pep Boys Nationals. They're going to be there. Like Scott said, people that you don't know maybe because you love John Forrest and that's all you follow. But they're out there with their cars and they're so proud of them. Well, a few years ago, we at the NHRA, me and Nikki Shealy, we came up with this idea to feature and highlight those sportsman racers. Not just them, but their cars, but them too, the person and the car. And it's a show called Attention in the Pits. And it's like 6 to 7 minutes long. It's on NHRA's YouTube channel. We just released our 100th episode of Attention in the Pits. And I'm very proud of it. And I'm very happy and honestly lucky and honored to be able to do that, to go through the pits and pick cars and people that, man, they deserve some spotlight. Like I'm carrying around a spotlight. We're carrying the spotlight together. And there's people who are working so hard and they deserve some spotlight, some love, some credit, some whatever it is that comes along with being on a screen on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is that comes along with that. You know, you're on a screen, you're famous somehow for a few minutes. And we just released our 100th episode. And so it would mean a lot to me for each one of you WFO listeners to go out there and share that 100th episode, because the guy who is the 100th episode, we agonized. There were a lot like, who's going to be the 100th episode? We agonized, and the interview is a year in the making. We were trying to be at the same race at the same time. And Sam Pouchot, because he's Cajun, you got to say it that way. I use it like, is it Porsche? It's like Pouchot. The guy is a great man. He's a wonderful, positive, happy person. He's 83 years old. He's out there running B stock in a Camaro, and he just has this amazing and infectious, positive personality. And I've talked to him many times over the years about just like different stuff. And he's the 100th episode. And, I would love for you guys to go share that. Not watch it. Share it. Get the word out there. Let's get some viral stuff going on there for Sam in the 100th episode of Attention in the Pits. Share it on YouTube so then that the YouTube algorithm takes over and does everything else for you. All right. People who make it possible. And then we're going to get to your comments about the Pep Boys Nationals, like who's going to start off winning this race. But I got to tell you about FTIperformance.com. FTI, you're out there watching these flings, right? You're watching the logos going by and you see the FTI logo over and over again. Because when it comes to consistent performing transmissions that can take a lot of power, and that's what kind of sets them apart. Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, Pro Mod, FTI, heavily involved. .90, big money brackets, FTI, definitely involved and successful. But if you've got a high horsepower street car, they do those as well, and they excel. So go to FTIperformance.com to find out more information. Also, our great friends at samtech.edu down there in Houston, Texas area. Brian Massengill and the family training the next generation of machinists. We need them. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. If you're thinking about this could be a career for you, you want to program machines for SpaceX, Sam Tech can get you started. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Frank and Lana. Amazing. All the racers that they have kind of shepherded through their program. You might want to get your Super Comp or Super Gas license. You maybe want to do that. Or maybe you just want to have a day experience driving dragsters, the Dragster Adventure. It makes a great gift for the holidays. You should do it. Simple as that. Marvin Rodak has been very involved in the show. 817-924-6821. It's just coffee, people. The best in the world. You love coffee? You buy the vacuum-packed garbage in the store? Stop that. Call Marvin. Tell him about what you like coffee-wise. You're like, I got to talk to somebody? Yes, exactly. He's going to be like your coffee concierge and guide you down the road. Like, try this. Get the WFO Radio Blend. Bang the blower. It's great for an espresso. It's got a crema. It's got a whole language. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're going to the Stampede of Speed, you could get a couple of pounds and avoid the shipping and just bring it home with you. Pack it in your bag. Just don't give it to the gate agent at American Airlines because they will not send it to you. That won't happen. Just saying. If you want to become a WFO Patreon, meetup, behind the scenes, all that stuff, they're getting access to all these different notes slightly ahead of time because they're VIPs and they get to participate in the Ignition show. And that's all good. Plus our great friends at all our sponsors. All right, let's see what people have to say. That was a great show, man. Seeing Scott Palmer. That was a tough one. Like, I see a lot of crash videos. That was a tough one. You know, you get to know someone real well. And I love that he's coming back. No, we're doing it. We're doing it. All right, so Sam is the effing man, says Bill. Yeah, he really is. Great person. And the Camaro, I know people hate Camaros, man. I know it. I've seen the Pro Maro comment too many times. You've made your point. Chevy built a real popular car. I'm a Pontiac guy. I get it. But to make the same point over and over again about Camaros, people don't like Camaros. You force all the Camaros out of a drag strip, guys, you've got half the cars there. People love Camaros. Get over it. They're cool. Camaros are cool. So are Mustangs. Attention in the Pits is a great look into the sportsman racer and super informative. Crazy. It's been 100 episodes. Thank you, Parks. Yeah, it really is amazing. Part of the initiative, some people think that NHRA doesn't show enough love to the sportsman racers, but I can tell you since I arrived there, and I'm not taking credit, I'm just saying when I got there, they instituted the Parade of Champions while I've been there, interviews in front of the grandstand, a lot of different stuff. The advent of social media kind of right in time gave us a whole new channel to do all of these things, to focus on these people. I don't think that's true anymore. It might have been true way back in the day, but it's not true anymore. Monica loves the show. Monica is going to be out there at the Pep Boys Nationals, baby. Monica's coming to Maple Grove. We got a lot of WFO listeners that are up there in the Grove area. Jeff Rice, most excellent podcast. Yeah, for the audio only folks, we do have a podcast feed. You should be checking it all out. Is this Lisa deal? You got to put that in parentheses, right? That was awesome. Going to be a blast. If it's Lisa, say what's up. If it's Jeff, no big deal. Just kidding, Jeff. This guy's excited. Maddie says, what's up to Mr. Palmer? We were rolling, Maddie. He saw you on there. The whole thing. Scott, This is by far the most exciting show in drag racing. WFO reaches everyone in the sport. I'm not going in competition with anyone. I feel like that's what is really the truth, is that everybody is working together, whether they want to or not, flooding the internet, the interwebs, and the podcast feeds with drag racing related content. There's your documentary, because WFO, we've been around a long time. I like to say we were first. Maybe someone can dispute it, whatever. But you got Brian Loans, and you got Wes Buck, and you got Life's a Drag, and there's shows everywhere popping up. Bobby Fazio, Sportsman Racers, like everybody has got Monday Morning Racer. There's a bunch of them. I'm making a list, and I'm going to miss one, and it's my fault, and I let them out. I'm sorry. But NHRA drag racing and drag racing in general has got such a grassroots following in our media. And I think it's great stuff. So thank you for the nice words. I appreciate it. I work hard. I try to compete and put on a good show. Just YouTube and their algorithm hates us. Ricky says he loved the show with Sam. But don't sleep on the Driven show also. Art. What's Art say? Does a great job with attention in the pits. We try. It's not just me, though. I recently binged the Hartford Pro Stock tech stuff. Mind blown in the class that had a secret handshake to learn of anything going on. You know, William, they go way back. That's another thing. Hartford. We're going to expose a bunch of stuff that people don't get to see, like the clutch in a Pro Stock car. Changing valve springs, that's one thing. The clutch in a Pro Stock car, the third member, all that stuff. We got a new one coming out. It's going to drop at some point. I don't know when. I've learned to check my phone. Like last week, I missed out on the 2.1 million viewers on Fox. Everybody should be pretty excited about that. But yeah, those things are all up there and out there. So, all right, no picks. Nobody's excited. I can tell you that the conversation we had with Michael Heiner on the Ignition Show was, and we're going to do a Patreon only, Hear It From Heiner, Championship Edition here a little bit later on today. Maple Grove sets the tone. We're going to the House of Chaos. Kid Chaos is going to be a dad. Got a little girl on the way, which is cool. They supposedly, I talked to the captain, and they got a lot of good stuff going on at the track again. It's a wonderful facility. It was recently saved, and I'm hoping and I'm confident that the people in that area are going to show up in a big, big way for the Pep Boys NHRA Nationals. Championship predictions, not going to make them. No, I'm not going to make them. It's too tight. It's too close. It's too tough. We'll have to see. Can someone, rip off multiple wins? Is it going to be an attrition battle? Is it going to be multiple racers winning multiple races? Is it going to be everybody cannibalizing each other in the first round? You win one, you lose first round the next one. Like, you just don't know. Have we seen all the ways a countdown can go? I don't know. I don't think we have. But I know it's closer now than ever before, I think, and we've got great possibilities. Also want to remind everybody, Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. This is an Elon Werner's thing. Elon Werner has put together a very fun game. You got to remember to set your lineup, though. Obviously, you got to pick them, otherwise it's less fun. But scan that, get in on Drag Race Bracket Bonanza, excuse me, and fill out your bracket. Fill out your bracket. This one over this one, this one over this one. See where you rank. Do it through the playoffs. Playoffs. It's a lot of fun. Like, I experienced it, that most recent race, the U.S. Nationals, and it's exactly what you want to do. You want to share it with your friends. Watch it. Fill this out. Watch the drag races. Dragster Jeff says Clay is going to win the first race. Well, that would turn things kind of upside down. I think that would be a very popular win. Alexis, Erica, and Matt Smith. Wow, so he's taking the field over Gage. Gage versus the field. Gage versus the field. It's tough. Hector Jr. It's tough. It's tough. All right, guys, we'll see you at the Grove. Hit the archive. A lot going on this week. WFO. Thanks to our guests.